Yo, chapter 4, shooting the details. We're gonna be doing the details now, and what I want you guys to be paying attention to, I know my dad humor is terrible, by the way. I'm gonna try and keep it to a minimum. Not really. But in shooting the details, we're gonna give you two different example setups, not three. That looks like three, but it's really two. So what I want you guys to pay attention to is how much time we're gonna spend in getting it set up right. This is the biggest area that I see a lot of issues is a lack of creativity and so forth in the setup of the details, and then a lack of care and attention to detail in the photographing of the details. So, and what I mean is, if you're gonna set it up and you're gonna make it look nice, make it look nice, make it look symmetrical, design it. Like, this is where you're gonna let your product photography skills kind of shine. And I love getting those shots where we have all the details in one frame, and then we have the close-up of each piece. Think again about the album and the story that you're telling. So, pay attention to these different pieces. We're gonna give you two different setups. My preferred setup is setup number 2, but I know people are gonna like setup number 1. Both totally work just fine. It depends on your style. Let's jump into the first video. Okay, so I've got our details, and now we begin the process of arranging these. Let me jump you guys into what we're doing here. So I found this nice sofa in there. It had a nice warm tone to it, and there's also a painting which we're gonna use, and you're gonna see that in a moment, that has the same kind of nice warm tone. I thought, hey, those look nice, complementary colors. This is gonna look nice together. You're gonna see it. It's gonna be awesome. So what I'm doing now is I'm laying everything out. You can see that the window is open on the left side of the frame. That's gonna be our kind of directional light that's coming in. We might modify a little bit as we go, but I'm just starting to place everything. Now keep in mind that as you are placing stuff, there is a lot of subjectiveness in that process. I mean, you can really choose how you want to place the different objects and where you want them to go and so forth. I kind of like it to have a sort of follow a pattern. For example, if we start with the feet on one side, I like to work into, like, say, the belt, and then into the, cuff links and the shirt, and like just kind of like work your way up the body, or like have some sort of progression to it rather than just having them all smattered all over the place. But the other thing I like is to have a little bit of balance in the frame too. So that's what we're gonna be doing as we set up. Pay attention to kind of the way that we're setting up the details as we go right into the video. So let's go. We could roll this up. See, I feel like if it's bent like that, it looks like a bent Wookiee. Like Simpsons? A bent Wookiee? I bent my Wookiee, Let's see if we want to roll this up and put it inside of the shoe. I'm also feeling like if it's rolled up like how it was, it might not look quite as good. Yeah, we kind of, like when it's rolled up like that, we lose the Hugo Boss embossing logo on the shoes themselves. And we kind of can't really see the socks all that well. So let's go ahead and just lay them out. And we can decide if we want left or right side. Okay. Let's grab the tie. And what we can do is create a little bit of balance in this by getting them kind of tied together so it looks nice and even. I'm also going to use the lines on the pattern itself. So I'm going to place the shoes on each side of this, place the sock in the middle, place this guy in the middle, and then we're going to have jewelry pieces on this side. And with the watch, I might do something a little bit different. So let's go like this. So let's take the watch and actually take it outside of this. Sometimes it's nice to show off. Okay, so we got that whole detail setup done. I mean, it's going to take a few minutes. You know what I mean? It's cool. Take 5 minutes and do it. It doesn't take that long. Literally only take about 5 minutes to do this, and then move on. Get your shots. Don't spend forever on it. Don't rush through it. Happy medium. 5 minutes. Peace. I'll place the ring right there. This ring would get lost. If we take this out and place it on top, it's going to get lost in the shot. So let's go ahead and just take the. Actually, I don't think we can take the tag off. So let's just tuck the tag in. Normally, you're not going to have a tag attached to these. Okay. Place that right here. So I've basically used my background a little bit to balance out and to create my composition. And what I might do as well is, let's just see if we can control the light a little bit better. Yeah, let's close this off a little bit more. That looks fantastic. This looks really nice. Okay, I'm going to look top down because this is kind of the way that I want to shoot it. I want to make sure that everything is easily visible top down. And the only thing that I feel like is a little bit tricky right now is the watch, because the watch is placed up pretty high, so I might need to get just kind of a slight angle on it so that I can see the face of the watch pretty well. That looks really nice. Okay, so this is the point where I'm actually ready to get my camera. Notice that I didn't touch the camera through this entire process. I'm getting all the details arranged. I'm getting everything ready to go. And then we're getting the camera out to get the actual shot of everything. I want to maintain a cohesive look to these images that I'm creating, to this look and this setup. So once I shoot that wide shot, once I get this entire setup, I'm going to go in individually and get maybe some of the details, shoot a little bit closer on the shoes, shoot a little closer on the tie and on the rings and on the cufflinks and the watch, and get those close-ups. Later on, I'm also going to shoot the details on the groom's person because I love that. And I actually prefer details on the person's body as opposed to separate, but a lot of brides and grooms really want this piece, and so we photograph this piece as well. Okay. I don't know what to do. There's this awesome thing hanging from the ceiling right next to me. I just feel like hugging it. But we do need to photograph our details now. I got my camera. We're set to full RAW. I'm going to go ahead and dial in an exposure and then kind of just get everything the way that I want it. So right now, let me stop this guy from shaking. Let's go ahead and turn on live view. So I'm going to use live view just to kind of cheat my way to a proper exposure real quick. So while in live view, I'm going to go ahead and adjust my exposure a bit. I'm going to go up to about f2 just to make sure that everything stays sharp in this scene while we still allow a lot of light in. I'm at 1/100th of a second, ISO 800. I'm going to tweak my white balance a little bit, maybe to like 4,500 Kelvin, so it has a nice warmth to it. Actually, let's go up to 5,000 Kelvin. And that looks pretty solid right there. Okay, and what I'm noticing right now is that I'm going to probably be shooting it from right up here, and I see that the background of the sofa ends right there. So I'm going to push everything just down a little bit. Let's push it down a little bit. Again, these are the small things that when I get into post, it really bugs me when I don't perfect these things and get it exactly the way that I want it in camera. When a little piece of the shot is missing its background, I don't like that. There we go. So what I always like to say is that if you're going for a symmetrical composition or if you're going for something that's balanced, spend the extra time to make sure that you get there. Otherwise, these small little things are going to look like mistakes. It's going to look like careless little things that either you overlooked or like you didn't spend enough time just to kind of perfect it. Okay? Now, you can shoot this image from a chair, and that's honestly probably the safe way to do it, but sometimes I'm a little bit in lazy mode, sometimes I'm kind of in a rush. So what I'm going to do is go into live view. I'm just going to hold the camera like this, get the right composition, bring it into the correct position directly over everything. And what I'm going to do is actually err towards the side of showing more background, less carpet. I'm going to get my focus. Going to fire directly from here. And this view can actually be kind of nice sometimes because you can really get your symmetry right by looking in the viewfinder and making sure that those lines match up. So we can see that that line matches up right to the bottom. This line goes right across the top because I'm looking at it through the viewfinder. The only thing I want to correct is just I don't want my feet to be poking out here. I don't want to have to worry about that in Photoshop or have to crop it anyway. So I'm just going to stand a little bit more wide and a little bit back further so I don't see my feet. Let's take that shot one more time. Okay, all edges look good. Perfect. I'm going to go ahead and zoom in, make sure everything is sharp. And everything is indeed sharp, even the watch. So that is going to be our detail shot for kind of all the different pieces. Now, we can see what this would look like on the carpet. If we want to, we can do the same thing on the carpet, and it's going to look decent. It's going to look like carpet, though. The other place that I think would look really cool is the white ottoman. I think it'll actually look and photograph very well on that. But since we have this and it looks great, let's keep on going with this scene. And what I'm going to do now is we're going to switch off and get onto a tighter lens. It could be your 24-70 at 70 millimeters. It could be a macro lens. Ideally, I'd like for everybody, if you're shooting details, put a macro lens in your kit. It's useful. It makes a lot of sense. It also works well for portraits. So I'm going to go ahead and grab the 100 millimeter macro. Okay, so with the 100mm macro, I'm going to jump back in. I'm going to get some close-ups. So let me get a close-up of these shoes. Keep in mind that my exposure just changed to f2.8, so I'm going to go ahead and bring up live view and just get a quick adjustment in exposure. I'm actually going to slow this down a little bit. I'm really comfortable shooting at fairly slow shutter speeds on this lens because it has such good image stabilization and also have pretty steady hands, especially if you hold under the lens and brace it against your body. We're going to go to 1/50th of a second and ISO 1600. Okay, that looks fantastic. Get the tips of the shoes. Get the head of the tie. And maybe even a close-up shot of the tie. Okay. This is the best placement of a light ever. Looks great. The face is a little bit bright, so I'm going to go ahead and bring my ISO down to 800. Fantastic. Let's get the details on these cuffs. Go back up to 1600 ISO. Just adjusting my focus over to the front cuff. That's great. And then a basic shot of the ring. Perfect. I'm going to go ahead and shoot top down on this too. And this will hide that tag a little bit more. I'm going to slow that down to 800 ISO. 800, yeah. Just to make sure that we're good. I'm going to speed this up to 1/100th of a shutter and then go to 1600 ISO. And we'll just grab that shot one more time. There we go. Perfect. So we have a basic set of our details. I do still want to get his suit, so that's the one thing I want to do. Now, we have the suit, the last piece of our details. Now here's the thing. I actually like shooting the groom's details on his person better. I think I mentioned that. But a lot of time the groom, they want their details shot separately. So I want to show you another cool thing. We're going to incorporate a piece of art that would actually work very well with the previous detail that we shot for this. And the reason why this would work well is because if you look at this painting right here, it actually has kind of those earth tones and the tans in this wall here that we have in the sofa. At least they're pretty close. So if we were to take a shot of this suit hanging on this piece of wall art, not only can we incorporate kind of an iconic piece of his room and a very signature piece of this experience, but then we also can match it to our details that we shot earlier on the sofa. So what I'm going to do is hang this right in the center. Make sure it's smack dab in the middle, and I'm kind of just looking at the composition of the photograph actually for this. I'm just going to kind of even out the collar. Just make sure that this hangs nicely, and so that we don't have any white showing through the bottom. Okay, same thing with this arm. Great. Perfect. Come over here and hop on my camera. I still have my 100mm macro. So I'm going to go ahead and just zoom across the scene and kind of back up just so I can fill the frame up with this picture. Right about here is good. Let's go ahead and just flip to live view. I'm going to look at my exposure. Right around 1/50th of a second, f2.8 and ISO 1600. It looks solid. When you guys see me kind of slowing things down, I have a tendency, we try and teach all of our people to do this as well, is when you are framing up a composition, look at the edges of the frame, look at everything around it, make sure it looks solid, make sure it looks great, and then pull the trigger. Don't shoot a whole grip of images hoping that one is going to look right. This looks really nice. We do notice a little bit of, okay, so what I'm noticing is that I'm catching reflection from this wall in that picture. So I can do one thing. I could actually close this down. And then let's turn off this light. And what we can do is basically darken our background. Let's turn this light out too. And now all we're using is that directional light from basically each side of the room. So there's directional light coming in from that side and directional light coming in from this side. Mike, can you open that curtain all the way? Is that open all the way? Great. And can you turn off that yellow light right there? Perfect. Okay, now we're going to get our exposure reading again. I'm going to go ahead and make one little adjustment here because I can see the shadow. Much better. Okay, I'm going to slow this around to around 1/20th of a second. 1600 ISO, f2.8. If you want, you can totally grab a faster lens, but again, I know that I can get a good exposure with that setting. So what we've noticed is, now that we've done that, we have closed off, if you actually see this, comparing this to the last image, we have a much nicer image with less reflections against this. I do notice one little reflection down there, and it's the sofa actually that I'm catching in the reflection. So watch this simple fix. Mike, can you grab the reflector, the black side of the reflector? So I can see the base of the sofa where it's white right against the picture frame. So what I'm going to do is just place something black right there against the sofa, which we can find in the reflector. You can find in a suit jacket, anything. The reflector is going to be the easiest thing. Perfect. Okay, so now you can look at the progression right here. So there's the first shot. We have tons of reflection against that picture. The second shot, we have a great looking image, except we just have that little reflection of the couch right there. And then the third shot, where now that's removed. So very quick, very simple, and easy way to perfect our image. And it honestly does not take more than a minute to just get everything right. So get it right, slow yourself down. Know that in any one of these scenes, like in groom prep, we don't need to walk away with 400 images. We need 20, 30 great images tops to define out that entire scene. Anything above that is great, but what we want is great images and not a whole bunch of average or good images. So look at this, there's that shot, and then when we look back at all these different details right here, you can see that this tan is going to look really, really nice when placed next to this shot on an album. Okay, right there. So those are going to look really great together. Now what I'm going to do is this, what we just did in this setup right now works really, really well in a room like this because we can find any backdrop to put the suit jacket against. We can find any of these small backdrops, like you can use the carpet, you can use wood flooring, you could use the ottoman, you could use whatever to shoot those details. So these types of techniques really work anywhere. Let's do another technique, which is photographing everything together, which works in scenes where you have a nice background and a backdrop with a place that you can actually hang, and we have that over by the bed. So we're going to do one more arrangement. It's going to be a little more artistic and set up to this specific room to kind of use the niceties that we have here. And this will work in a lot of different rooms, but it might not work for all. So let's go into that technique now, and we'll set up for one more detail shot. Okay, let's do one more setup. This setup might not work in every situation. If you don't have a type of room where you can actually hang and shoot all the details together, then fine, so be it. Do it with the previous setup that we had where we shot them kind of in different locations or shot them separately against clean backgrounds and shoot them to be cohesive still so they have similar colors so when they go next to each other in an album, it makes sense. So if you shoot them to be white, shoot everything to be white. If you shoot it to have color, shoot it with the same similar color so they look nice inside of an album. Let's go for our second setup right now. This is shooting all the details together. This is kind of a cool, fun room shot when you have a great room to focus on and feature. So Mike, I'm gonna have you help me out. Why don't you take off your shoes? Oh, look at that, you got your shoes already off. And hang that right there. Oh, is that slipping? Well, look here, I have gaff tape. We tried this a second ago and it didn't really work out too well because that's a very slippery surface. I always carry gaff tape just everywhere. Just a small little roll of this can go a long way. And in situations like this, it's actually very, very helpful. So we're going to take a small piece. And gaff tape is a type of masking tape, so it's not going to leave residue or anything like that. We're just going to roll a piece up. You're going to stick it right to the back of that. So the surface there is too smooth to actually get this hanger to stay. And then it's going to stick very nicely. I'm going to go ahead and start placing all of our items back here. I'm going to shoot for the foot of the bed because it has a really nice look to it. It's like the urban man's fur, right? The urban man's dead bear. Yeah. But it's not made of animal, so it's nice because we didn't kill anything. Let's bring all over our items. If you're looking at the backs of my pockets, yes, I have lots of dangly things. Why is this thing dangly? Dangly, dangly. Dangly. Now that I've got my danglies fixed, ready to keep going. Okay, let me finish by grabbing the ring, bringing this here over here. Okay, let's move this down a little bit. And now that we have this, I'm going to take the ring out. And Jenny, am I okay to take the tag off, or do you think we should leave it on?
The ring is actually there, so no.
Keep the tag on. Yeah. Merchandise not returnable if this ticket is removed. So do you think we can return it if we take it off? Okay. How's that going to work? It's going to go, oh, look, underneath. Like that. Put a ring on it. If you like it, then you should put a ring on it. You don't know about that one? I know about that one. Okay, what I'm going to try and do here is, what I want to do is actually put the ring on top of the box. In general, it's a good idea not to drop their jewelry. The only issue is that, yeah, obviously this is going to become a big part of the shot, and we can't take it off. So let's just try and leave it in and see if we can balance this to actually stay. Stay. Mike, in the meanwhile, can you get the bed, all the wrinkles out of the bed? I'm going to rub the fur, you know, get all the hairs going in one direction. You think I'm kidding right now, but I'm not. Although it is nice and soft. Let's be honest. Let's be honest. Would I touch it if I didn't need to? Probably. Stop laughing, Carlo. Okay. I'm good without the macro right now. Why don't you grab this guy? And what I want to do is get a shot of this room. And actually, everything looks pretty good right now. We have a good amount of decor over there. I don't mind I don't really want to get the phone and the remote. I don't mind that guy on that side. Sometimes I'll remove all these things. Mind the details when you're shooting details. That should be a saying. My saying. Okay, I'm noticing, and I can actually show you guys some of this stuff in camera because I'm fixing it before I really see it in camera because I can see it in person. So, and I also think this chair is a little bit tall and kind of obnoxious, so I'm going to just remove this chair. And all I need to do is put it on the other side of this room. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and back up. I'm going to actually leave the light switch on the wall because I do want some of this wall just for compositional purposes. But what we're going to do is we'll knock it out in Photoshop. It'll be an easy fix. That looks great. I'm going to go ahead and just adjust my ISO down. I'm going to look at my histogram. And what we'll do instead is, Mike, why don't you just close that side of the curtain? That's solid. Okay, so we still have that spot of light coming through. Perfect. I'm going to brighten that up a little bit. Let's go up to we're at 1/100 of a second. We're at f2 and ISO 400. Fantastic. Let's make sure that we're sharp. That's great. I'm going to mind the details, tuck in the lace that I see, see if there's anything else. I notice that the Hugo Boss box is a little bit out too far. Right here. That looks great. I have the same thing with my feet going on. Let's fix that. See, right now we're a little bit behind, so using this technique helps us quite a bit. We can move a little bit quicker. I'm going to do that one more time, just give myself a little bit of space at the edges of the frame, shooting a little bit wider. That's great. This last shot, I left myself a little bit of room so I can crop in and have a little bit of space there to work with. That's fantastic. Let's get a close-up shot of this guy. And for this, Jason, I'm going to catch you in the frame, actually, so let's have you pop out. Cool. I'm going to go ahead and just go around 1/100th of a second, f1.4 and ISO 400. Get just the shot of the suit. That looks great. I have a little sprinkler up at the top left, so what I'm going to do is shoot wide enough that it's just a quick clone out if I need to remove it. That's great. I want all these details, remember, to have a cohesive feel to them. And to do that, I'm not going to be using stuff that it wouldn't make sense, right? If we used this shot right here, this wide shot, and then we used the close-up of that sofa right there, that wouldn't make sense in terms of continuity. You'd kind of wonder as a viewer, you'd wonder, well, why are they back over on that side over there if they were just placed at the foot of the bed? I'm going to speed this up to 1/100th and go back to 1600 ISO. Because my hands are shaking like a crazy person right now. Don't know why. Carlos says it's because of drugs. I do not. Kids, don't do drugs. I'm going to hold this guy. Perfect. Okay, so I have my set of details again. Again, that didn't take more than like 5-10 minutes to go through this entire thing, to set it all up, to get it done. Just make sure that if you decide that you don't like the details that you shot earlier, if you decide to change the scene, now we wanted to demonstrate shooting it all together, and that's fine. But if you do decide that you want to do something a little bit different, make sure that you photograph everything again, so that way you have continuity in the frame. Don't use things placed in a previous position next to ones that you photographed in a different area. Something shot against white versus something shot against this. If you're going to reshoot it, shoot them all again so you have a cohesive story.